Welcome to the Pennsylvania Rock Show. Since 2004, we've been the home of Pennsylvania's unsigned rock, raw, loud, and unapologetic. From live radio to podcast and streaming everywhere, this is underground music without a filter. Turn it up, let it bleed. And now, here's your host, Bill Damiano.
What's up, everyone? You're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. Right at the top of the show, we heard from the Scarlet Goodbye and their track She's a Fire, and the Despair Collective and their track Retribution. This is episode number 820. You were probably listening to us on musicfrom412.com, buildscene.com, xrpradio.co.uk, KD, let me try that again. KDubRadio.com, MegaRockRadio.net, 107.1 FM, KFGD in St. Louis, Missouri. And I feel like I probably forgot somebody, but we'll go with the flow. With me tonight is Laura. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Is it Rullo?
It is Rullo. Yes. Okay. I get Rullo. I get lots of other things that aren't even close, but however you want to say it is good.
I have a long Italian last name that people butcher all the time, so I try and get everybody's name right. I have a meme saved somewhere that says my last name has been mispronounced so many times, I'm not even sure that I say it right anymore.
It's usually my first name that people mess up. I get Lauren or I get Lori or something like that.
So let's start out with the obvious. You're a little younger than most of my guests, and you probably have just as much time on the stage from what I was reading. How long have you been playing?
I started playing piano when I was 5 years old, and then shortly after that, I wanted to learn how to sing. I had a really good teacher. She would come to our house and give us private lessons, so I had her for a good number of years. And she played the guitar, so I wanted to learn to play the guitar shortly after that. But I started gigging when I was around 12 years old, so I started getting into the open mic scene and doing a lot of, things that pretty much anybody can just jump up. And then people started offering me gigs shortly after that, and I'm like, that sounds scary. But I got into it, and it took me a really long time to, get comfortable with the crowd and start writing my own songs. And then after I started writing my own songs, I have to get comfortable with playing the songs and telling people that they're my songs. But once I got comfortable with it, I really developed a love for being on stage and performing in front of people and just making people smile.
So the songwriting process for you, I know that I think it was Invisible was the first single. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the bio that I read, it said that was your first single, but you had written more prior to that.
Yes.
How many songs do you have in your repertoire that are just yours?
Oh, geez. I've probably written close to like 25, 30 songs so far. I don't play all of them live for various reasons, but, not every original stays with you, and you develop new concepts and you write new songs and you kind of pick and choose which ones you play live when. But I've written lots and lots of songs, and I really enjoy it. I have a sweet spot in my heart for writing, for sure.
How do the songs usually come to you? Like, do you get a riff first, or do you get the lyrics first?
It's different every time. Sometimes songwriting, if you're a writer and you've been doing it long enough, sometimes, you'll just be doing something and it becomes like just breathing or talking. Like it comes that naturally. Sometimes I'll go months without writing a song because I have writer's block and it'll take me a while. But there have been some songs that I've written, like maybe I'll write the bridge first, or maybe I'll write the chorus first, or I'll write a verse or like an intro, but it's different every time. And you get different ideas from different things depending on what you're doing. I've written songs in the middle of the night, like where I've had to get up. I wrote one song on a bike ride outside, just in my head. I've written songs on napkins. Like when I went to school, I jot it down on a napkin and then write it on something better when I came home. But it's different every time, and you never know.
So this is your first album, and you told me off the
Yes.
air that you're working on getting it finished up. Where that? Let me try that again. Where were you recording it?
I am recording at Daniel Blake Production. That is in Hunker, PA, so the Hunker Armbrust area. Dan's a great guy, and I'd recommend him to anyone that's thinking about recording or doing anything along that lines. And even when you're not recording, he's just a great guy to hang out with. He plays pretty much every instrument you can think of, and he's great at it. He really puts a lot of time into what he does, and you can tell he's taken a lot of time to hone his craft, and he puts a lot of thought into you, and you're not just there. You're as soon as you step in, you're part of that family.
Now, on your recordings, I listened to like 30 seconds of each of them today. I'd listened to them in the past, but on Mondays I come home from school and I have to get all this stuff ready, and then I panic. Oh no, I forget who I'm interviewing. Um, what is it? Just you on it, or are there other musicians?
Well, that's a very good question because we thought it was just going to be me. And like my dad's been a drummer for a number of years since he was in high school. He did drumline back in high school, and he did some drumming with our worship band when we were in church. We actually just left our church, but we've kind of been church hopping. So he hasn't really had an opportunity to drum other than, when he's working on stuff with me. He had the tambourine part on Invisible. So that was fun. He got to sit there and bang the tambourine, so he kind of made a bigger deal out of that than it was, but it was really fun. We have a number of people coming in to sing because there's one part on the one song that's going to be on the album that there's one part where, a bunch of people join in with me and sing, so that's going to be lots of fun. We got a couple different people coming in to the studio this Tuesday. Actually, we're going to be working on that, so obviously my producer has done some work with me on that. We're thinking of maybe having some mandolin on there, and I don't play the mandolin, so we're going to see if maybe we can get somebody to come in and do that as well. But there are definitely going to be some other people featured on the album. I'm excited about it.
So I know of the tracks Invisible and Things Change. How many tracks are on the album or planned to be?
We're planning for 9.
And
9 songs.
Is there a release date for it?
We're thinking summer, around the summertime. We have 4 songs completed, so we still got a little way to go here. But we're thinking like mid-summer, possibly end of summer, but I don't think it'll take that long for it to be done because we've been making really good progress. So we're thinking maybe like June, July, that kind of thing.
So earlier you mentioned gigging, and how hard is it to get a show because of your age? Liquor control board thing.
Yeah, so being 15, it is hard sometimes because places have rules about like you can't be in past 9 o'clock if you're 21. If they have a bar, if they don't serve food past 9 o'clock or whatever. My dad helps me. My dad, I don't know what I'd do without him because he does the majority of emailing, during the day when like I'm busy with school and things like that. Obviously, I reach out to people too, and I help with booking because it's my stuff. So, I kind of have to. But at first, when I first started doing this when I was 12, I might have had like, I don't know, 3 gigs every 4 or 5 months, maybe. So, not bad for a 12-year-old, but not, I wanted to get myself out there. Last year I played 98 shows, and this year we have, I believe, 96 booked. So we're headed for 100 gigs this year. So it's kind of insane, to be honest. I'm looking at my schedule kind of a little worried a little bit sometimes, but I don't know why I worry because I get up there and it's always lots and lots of fun. So people make it a party.
So I while you were talking about shows, I pulled up your calendar, just April, and
Yeah,
it's pretty full.
it is pretty full. Yeah.
Um, American Legions, Pennsylvania Pipeline Music TV interview. That sounds cool. I'm gonna have to
Yes.
look that up.
Yeah, that is cool. They're in Montoursville, PA, so that's a bit of a drive. We've never done that before, but we've seen quite a few local artists that have been on there, so I'm excited to check it out.
So while I have your website up, I'm going to go ahead and click on store.
Yeah.
And,
We just did some updates to the website, so it's still kind of in the process of being updated because it needed a little bit of updating. So merch, I don't think is up and running quite yet. Everything else should be there and up and running though. So
and that website address, if you wouldn't mind saying it for everybody.
yeah, so if you type in rockwithlaura.com, that was the old website address, but now it's Laura Rullo Music. So if you laurarullomusic.com. So if you type in either, it'll take you to the right place.
Screen because I had the wrong one up there when I opened it.
Oh, it's all good. No, it's kind of confusing, honestly, because at first we tried to get Laura Rullo Music and then couldn't, so it ended up being Rock with Laura, and then we ended up getting Laura Rullo Music. So either one.
Okay. Hey, we're going to take our first break, and we are
All
going
right.
to listen to "Invisible" and "Things Change" by Laura Rullo, and we will be right back.
All right.
Hey, it's Bill. You're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 820. With me tonight is Laura Rullo. If you're just tuning in, you missed the first segment. We learned all about her writing process and about her album. So she got like the straight, normal kind of interview, and now I'm going to hit her with some Pennsylvania Rock Show questions. And those of you that are familiar with the show are probably laughing. So I kind of prepped her a little bit for a few of them off the air, and I'm going to give her those ones right off the bat to get her into the swing of things. And the first one I mentioned, I was going to ask you about pizza, Laura, and
Yeah.
this question will probably end up being my retirement podcast. I'm going to go back and listen to my old shows and go visit pizza places. But the question is, what is the best pizza you've had because you're a musician? So it could be at one of your gigs, or maybe you ordered pizza while you were recording, or something along those lines.
Yeah. I got an easy answer to this one because some of the best pizza I've ever had, period. I'm gonna have to say Yellow Bridge Brewing. They have a location in Greensburg and in Delmont, but the one in Delmont is the one that does music. So I'd specifically direct you to the one in Delmont. If the one in Greensburg's closer, then whatever. But they have both. They have flat pizza, or they have the big square ones. So their pizza's outstanding, out of this world. They do an open mic there every Wednesday, hosted by Dave Stout, and they do regular music there. So they book solo artists, small bands too, but they're very supportive of the local music scene, and they have great pizza.
I've never been in the building in Delmont, but
Yeah.
I did break down there one time on my way to work, and was in
Oh,
their parking lot waiting to be towed. um, Someday I'm going to stop there though. I drove
for
past it
sure.
last night.
You're gonna have to.
All right, so I also gave you a heads up on the Dave Grohl question, um, which really is if who would you want to go up on stage with and perform one of their originals?
Does the person have to be alive, or are you thinking like someone who's
So
passed on?
so
That's an important.
we can hold off on this question, and I'll ask a different question. And
Okay.
you understand? Well, you might understand. Your dad will understand for sure why.
All right. He can help
All
me
right,
out then if I need some help.
All right, so you're leaving one of your shows, and there's a DeLorean sitting there with its door up in the air and a flux capacitor in the back seat. And she's definitely looking at him. um, it is the movie Back to the Future. If you haven't seen it, DeLorean
Oh,
is
I
a time
have.
machine.
I mean,
Okay,
not. I
okay.
haven't. I don't think I've sat down and watched the whole thing, but
All right. So
I
in,
know what you're
in
talking about.
so in part of the storyline is he ends up going back in time, and he ends up playing guitar with Chuck Berry's cousin. Um, so if you were able to go back in time and play with anyone in the history of the world, who would you want to go
Um, you probably have gotten this a lot, but I think I'm gonna have to say like Elvis Presley because he's one of the most musical legends of all time, and there are a lot of people that are like pretty obsessed with Elvis, and he's got some great stuff, and he's lots of fun. I think that'd be cool, and I play a lot of Elvis in my regular set. I think that'd be really cool.
Which Elvis songs do you cover?
Oh, I do lots of Elvis. Can't Help Falling in Love, Suspicious Minds, Don't Be Cruel, Burning Love. He's got some good stuff.
Okay, so here's why we did this in order. So you still have a DeLorean. Now I ask you who you want to go up on stage with and perform one of their originals.
Someone who's like still living, you mean?
Nope, you have a time machine. You can pick anybody.
Oh, I could pick anybody.
Yep.
Oh. Um, I think I'm gonna stick with like older artists, like maybe someone like Dolly Parton, because she's done so much good in the world, and she's had such a successful music career. And again, she has so much great stuff.
I cannot remember the name of her charity, but she gives free books out to people who are struggling monetarily. So I wish I could remember it because I would love to plug it here. Um, but Dolly, you're right. Dolly does do a lot for the world,
Yeah, and she's
um,
still at it. So
and she can still sing.
she's still at it. I got one of her books that she just released for Christmas. I think it's called Star of the Show. And I was expecting it to be, normal book. No, it's this big. It's huge. It took me forever to finish it, but it had some great advice in there for musicians and some great stuff.
Um, so musicians, bands have been known to play in weird places at times. Um, the band Kiss once played in a bay in Australia to sharks, and Metallica has played in Antarctica. And one of my
Ooh,
friends who also has a show on Music from 412 has played one of his originals at the geographic South Pole. Um, yes, there's a video of
wow,
it.
that's
um,
impressive.
where is a non-traditional venue that you'd like to play? So basically, you can pick wherever you want for whatever reason. Yeah, reason. Bit my tongue.
Oh, well, we were somewhere the other day and we ran into someone from our old church and he mentioned that he's been working at a greenhouse. So he said, how cool would it be if you started like a tour for like a year of only playing greenhouses? Like it could be just the greenhouse tour, you go from one greenhouse to another. It'd be real weird. And I don't know if you'd have much of a crowd at a greenhouse, but I don't know. It might be
I
cool.
mean,
Sing to all the plants.
Sheets is having shows.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're pop-ups. There was I can't remember who it was, but recently in the Pittsburgh area, it was a fairly well-known band, but my old brain isn't going to pop that name into my head right now. But yeah, they like the band knows they're playing, but Sheets announces it like 3 hours ahead of time, and then there were I don't know probably 1,500 people who showed up.
Huh, that's crazy.
So you never know. Maybe greenhouses will start doing it.
Maybe, yeah. Start a new trend.
um, I forewarned you on this one too. Let's say you're out on tour, and for some reason you hire me to drive your bus. What kind of music am I going to be playing in between shows?
Oh, like music that I'm telling you to play?
Yes.
Oh, so like if I command you to play music. Um, Probably something like I like a lot of 80s stuff, so something like Journey or like Pat Benatar, Belinda Carlisle, that kind of stuff. Rock out. I love Journey. They're like my favorite. I love them.
Um, If you had a chance to sit down on a bench next to your musical idol, first of all, who would it be? And what would be that first question you asked it to break the ice?
Oh, that's a hard question for me because I listen to such a diverse mix of so much music, and I don't think I'd be able to say that I have a specific person that's like my music idol. Um, like right now, I'm listening to a lot of like Sheryl Crow, like '90s singers. But I think if I could sit down and talk to any musical artist that's had that much success, I think I would just ask them, where it all started and how they pushed past, when it got hard, and people that told them they couldn't do it, or, things like that, because those are real struggles that every musician faces. Should I stick with this, or, I have to have a plan B. What's my plan B going to be? How am I going to get through this? But the people that have made it, I think it'd be really cool to hear their story.
Okay, so we're going to take our second break. It's I asked you if you had seen the show before, and you told me that you had listened to a little bit of the Derek Woods episode.
Yes.
And believe it or not, he is in my queue for tonight's show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're going to play a new track from the Jaded Lips first called Trouble. And then we're going to play Fall of the Cards by Derek Woods.
That's awesome.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back to episode 820 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. We're headed into segment number 3 with Laura Rullo, LauraRullomusic.com. In segment 2, we learned a little bit more background information. We're going to go a little deeper and find out some more information from her. Hey, Laura. So you started playing piano, you said when you were 5, right?
Yes.
When did you realize that you wanted to be a musician? Was it before then? Was it?
I'd say it was before then, because it's not something that my parents said, "Hey, Laura, you're going to play the piano now," or they didn't even ask me, "Hey, do you want to play the piano?" One morning I just woke up and said, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I want to play the piano." And when I woke up, I believe it was my birthday. It might have been, I don't think it was Christmas because I think I would remember, but I think it was my birthday. And I came downstairs. My dad got me out of bed, and I'm like, "Let me sleep. It's my birthday." I'm exhausted. And he brought me down the stairs, and there's a little keyboard sitting there for me. And it was very, very hard at first, to play these 3 notes on the keyboard and memorize which keys are which. But once I got the hang of it, I wanted to expand my musical knowledge and start getting into some other instruments and learning how to do some other things. But it's become a huge part of my life, and music has always been a part of my parents' life as well, even though they didn't force it on me. It was something that I wanted to do. My mom played violin and viola when she was in high school, and my dad was a drummer. So I've had a very musical background my whole life.
So you've mentioned keyboards, piano, and guitar. What else do you play?
Well, I dabble in a little bit of bass. I just picked up my first bass, but if you play the guitar, you can pretty much pick up the bass and kind of get a handle on it. A little bit of ukulele. My sister is more into that than I am. I've never, played that live, but just messing around with it. Like I could play it if I had to. Pretty much anything that is related to guitar. I play a lot of 12-string guitar out. I really enjoy doing that just because it's, it's something different. You play it the same as a 6-string guitar, but I usually tune it differently to make it more interesting, and that's always a lot of fun to kind of spice up my live shows.
So the listeners have heard what I'm about to say multiple times. They're probably like, really? But my my three kids are also musicians. They haven't done any writing per se yet, but
Mhm.
um, my daughter Emmeline sings and plays the flute. My daughter Bria plays the sax, the clarinet, and sings. My son sang for the first time a solo yesterday at church. Um, he does sing, but he doesn't sing by himself. My daughter is
Oh,
sitting right there.
no.
um, he also plays the guitar, the bass, the keyboards, drums, um, trumpet, trombone, euphonium, French horn.
Man, that's everything.
Yeah, pretty much anything brass he can play.
Yeah.
Um, he can play his sister's instruments. Um, and I once asked him how many instruments he's going to learn, and he said all of
That's some perseverance right there.
them. But yeah, so that's why I asked, because it seems to be a thing now. I'm going to age myself, that the younger generation is really learning how to play multiple instruments,
Yeah.
which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. What what has been an embarrassing moment that you've had on stage?
Oh, geez. Oh man. I mean, when I first started, I was always embarrassed because, I was scared to get up there and even sing at all. I'd get so nervous and I didn't want to talk to the audience. So I just would get up there and like feel dumb half the time. Like I'm like this little 12-year-old and everyone else knows so much more than me. And I'm getting up there like, I don't want to say anything. I get up there with my little iPad and like, don't look at me. I'm scared. I can't even remember my name right now. I'm so scared. There was one time when I was playing in a band at a place in Irwin. I was helping host an open mic, and two of the guys on stage started fighting with each other from across the stage. So that was fun, trying to handle that. So that was kind of a little embarrassing to everybody in there. You could tell the vibe in the room was just kind of like everybody just kind of went quiet. But by the end of the night, they were buddies again. So it's all good. We're all good. But
Have you been like? Was that a one-time deal, or have you
yeah,
been?
that was a one-time deal. I don't usually play with other musicians very often. When I get the chance, I definitely jump all over it because it's just so much fun. But our musician friends are always so busy, doing their own thing. It's really hard to make your schedules line up to the point where you can get together to even practice. But when given the chance, I definitely jump on it.
Before I forget, we are kind of dwindling down on time. What
Oh, I'm
is the name?
sorry.
What is the name of the album?
Oh, I think we're just gonna leave it the first one untitled because obviously I plan to come out with a couple different ones. But I think we're just gonna kind of call it the Laura Rullo debut album and just kind of put a picture up there and say Laura Rullo and see what happens.
Okay.
So,
I did jump on your Spotify earlier. I saw that Invisible was on there.
yes.
Where else can people find your music?
Pretty much any streaming service that you like to find music, so Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. There's an app that one of the radio stations that I'm on uses called VoWave. That's sort of more complicated than the other streaming services, but if anyone wants to check that out, my stuff is up there as well.
Sorry, something
No,
popped
you're
up on my
good.
screen.
You're good.
I never claimed to be professional. I just have lots of episodes.
That makes you a professional, I promise.
Okay, we'll take it. If you had 30 seconds on national TV to tell, yeah, don't panic, it's not really happening. To tell the people that are watching that channel why they should go to laurarullomusic.com, what would you tell them?
Without trying to, we're not bragging here. It's shameless self-promotion is what's happening here. But I would say Laura Rullo has had lots of growth throughout her music career. And she has a very diverse set list. And she tries to bring lots of energy to the stage whenever she plays and just kind of make it lots of fun.
Cool. So I do need to. I told you I have a new mic. I do have to do a real quick segment about my new mic.
All right.
Because I am sponsored by this company, and it's required part of sponsorship. Supposed to keep the name on screen at all times, but I'm still working on a desk situation. But it's Mono is the name of the company, mono.com. And if you decide you want to buy anything there, you should use the coupon Build the Scene, which will get you, I believe it's 10% off anything $35 and up. And it got me a new microphone.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we have about 45 seconds left. I'm going to hit you with one more quick question.
All right.
Yeah. If you were going to host your own podcast about music, what one question would you ask?
I mean, if I could steal your pizza question, I think I'd probably go for that because it's such a good question and you learn so much about, what's in the area. People are always looking for places to eat, so I think people would appreciate that.
I love that that's the one you want to use.
Yeah, and ice cream because I'm a big ice cream lover.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I think you should do that, and then we can link our podcast together.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that way I'm not like stealing your idea.
Doc Rock, who runs metalshop101.com, is also on Music from 412, and he hates my pizza question.
How come?
I have no idea. And then Rocky, who owns Music from the 412, interviewed Ryan Roxy, who's the guitar player of Alice, the Alice Cooper band. And he asked my pizza question, and Ryan shot him a dirty look. And then he answered it, but he shot him a dirty look. So it kind of gets mixed reactions. But, hey, Laura, I want to thank you for hanging out with us on episode number 820.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Everyone, make sure you go to laurarullomusic.com. Also, tune in to musicfrom412.com tomorrow at 8 p.m., where the episode 8 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show Flashback will be airing. That one is featuring Josie and the Corruption. And I have 2 more tracks for you tonight. They are the Lyricals and their song Breakdown, and Neostem and their very, very 90s grunge version of their track Lackluster. Make sure you join us each and every Monday night. We have come to the end of the show. That means it's time for me to spin the wheel and find out who is going to win 2 tickets courtesy of Dressy Entertainment on behalf of Music from the 412. This week's giveaway is for the Lynch Mob show on Tuesday, April 7th at Jurgles. It also features openers Northern Steel. It's a 6 p.m. start time with a 5 p.m. early entry, 8 p.m. showtime. Tickets range from $43.65 to $59.65 a piece. There's still time to head to DresskyEntertainment.com to purchase some of those. It is 21 and over. I had Nikki Praza, Thomas Trainer, Jeff Brooks, and Keith Ladig sign up. You'll notice their names are on the wheel multiple times. I think I'm going to shuffle 3 times. And we're going to spin, and we're going to find out who is headed to that April 7th show to see